your triggers. But more importantly, welcome to taking the first step to getting your emotions under control. Right? We walking around sensitive to everything. Why? Because we're triggered by everything and everybody. But today, as soon as the grandchildren simmer down, today we are going to learn how to master ourselves. We can't control what's going on around us, right? But we can control how we respond and how we react to things, and that's what we're gonna talk about today. Couple seconds. Give me guys a couple seconds. So while I'm waiting on them, we have done the welcome. Housekeeping. Because I remember nothing. So, today's subject, triggers. It may trigger some emotions for some people, right? So, first I want you to know that everything that you feel is valid and we care. If you feel that you get to a point where you're not okay, it's okay to step out, and if you need to grab somebody, grab Pastor Page. It might get a little tough today, but in order to learn how to master your triggers, we gotta talk about the stuff that triggers you. And a lot of that has to do with a lot of trauma from our childhood and present time. And so, there's gonna be some moments of vulnerability. So I'm asking everyone to respect when others are talking. I'm asking everyone to be patient with everyone in here. It may take some people a little longer to process what we're talking about, and we're gonna take our time so that everybody that leaves here leaves with what they came for, right? And parents, children will be children. We're not asking for anything different. However, because today's subject is super sensitive, if we can try to keep their noise, because they're gonna be noisy, keep their noise to a minimum, that'd be really good. We don't want someone to be in a vulnerable moment and then the kids or whatever, and they're distracted, and we don't want that. I don't want that for you, and I don't want that for you. But kids will be kids. All right, you ready? So while we're waiting, let's go around the room and introduce ourselves. I am Dion, also known as Minister Dion, Mama D, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Call me whatever feels comfortable. Don't call me out my name.
Sure about that?
So let's start over here. And I need you to speak up so everybody can hear you. My name is Karen. I'm Regina. I'm Regina. This is Ryan. All right, over here.
Mariah. Chianti.
You're the name. I was like, I don't know how to say it. Chianti, but okay. And you are?
Michaela.
So dramatic.
Just Kayla. I'm Nikita.
Your name was the other one?
Maria.
All right. So now everybody knows everybody. We are gonna start off with our activity. And the reason why I want to start off with the activity is because today we'll have, like I said, some sensitive spots, and I want you to be able to have your self-care tool while we are having our conversation. So if everybody will go over to the table, grab a bottle, grab a couple of envelopes to put inside your bottle. You'll be making a calm down bottle. I'll explain it to you after everybody gets their stuff and sit down at the table.
Wait, what's the baby's name?
Right now.
Right now.
Sometimes you just need a minute. You need a minute. You're talking to your children, you feel yourself getting a little more upset than you will really need to be talking to your children. What do you need to do? You need to take 5. So your water bottles, if you didn't fill them up too much with beads. It's a moment for you to take a break. You shake your bottle. You sit it down. What I do at home is I shake my bottle and I put it down very firmly. Boom. I'm gonna need you to understand I'm taking 5. That's what it means for me. I'm taking 5 minutes. I need a minute to calm down. I need a minute to myself. I need to take a break. I shake it, boom. 5 minutes. minutes. You shake your bottle, and until all the glitter has settled, you take a moment to relax. You take a moment to breathe. You take a moment to dispel all of the negative energy that you're feeling, and you take that opportunity to feed yourself positive affirmations, scriptures, so on and so forth, to bring yourself back to a place of calm. It's your calm bottle. Shake it, boom. Tell your kids, when you see my bottle, give me a minute. Tell your spouse, when you see my bottle, give me a minute. Shake your bottle and put it down in front of her and say, I need bottle. What we fail to realize in our day-to-day is that we respond to stuff because we fail to take five. Somebody say something to you that's real flip. Listen, I used to be so reactive and so explosive. It was really scary because I was just emotions on my sleeve. You upset me, you getting it. You piss me off, you getting it. You disrespect me, oh, it's a wrap. Because I'm all on edge. It is not your responsibility to tiptoe around my feelings. And we feel like everybody's using this word, I'm triggered. It's a cute word and it's very real. But they're using it wrong. You being triggered is not my fault. It's not my problem. You need to get your emotions and your feelings under control. If I say, girl, you know, you're not really looking yourself today, or you must be tired. What you mean I must be tired? What does that mean? Well, you know, all I was saying was that, you know, you look like you're dragging a little bit, but I'm so on edge that I'm explosive and I take everything to offense. Not your responsibility, eggshell around my feelings. And so today, we're going to learn what triggers me, why I'm triggered, and how can I manage them. One of the biggest things that I can think of when it comes to myself being triggered is family. I get around family and certain things trigger me, and it's not their fault, but I'm triggered nonetheless. So say you're going to a Thanksgiving dinner and you know that uncle that's super creepy is gonna be there, or that cousin that got that flip mouth that's always disrespecting your mama and you ain't having it is gonna be there. You gotta have a plan. You don't walk into a situation that you know is probably gonna trigger you and you don't have any kind of plan. So we're also gonna talk about having a plan. What can I do when there's no way to avoid the situation that is going to trigger me? What can I do to be prepared for this situation? All right. Questions we did. Y'all hungry?
Mhm.
Can we? You say yes. We can't start. You need to eat right now. Okay. We're gonna do lunch in a second. Let's go ahead and get started with our slides. Comfort agreement. So today, for the couple of hours that we are together, everybody needs something while they're here, right? So we're gonna write an agreement that we're all going to stick by and stick to so that we're respectful to everyone. What I'm needing today is no crosstalk. If someone else is talking, you are not, okay? Anybody else have anything that they need while they're here? Yes, ma'am.
Allow me to complete my entire thought.
I'm just gonna put allow me to finish. Is that okay? Okay. Anybody else? So don't nobody else need nothing. It's okay if there's all kind of side talk going on while you're trying to say something, that's all right.
You covered it. No crosstalk and let me finish. I'm just saying what I'm saying.
Usually, it'd be, yes.
There's another statement that we actually use with part of our values at work is assume best intentions.
Don't talk about my handwriting. I didn't put that on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Be respectful even if you can't relate.
Oh. Who said that? Hello.
Yes.
Be respectful.
Anywhere, and where there's open seat, you're welcome. Right, share your name space.
You cannot. Anybody else?
Be respectful even if you can't relate.
Yes, ma'am.
Be empathetic and understanding.
I'll be able to get back up.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait, no, it's not. That's what I'm trying.
No, that's,
That's fine. I thought it's ETI.
Yes.
ETIC.
there you go, keep going.
Empathetic. And what?
Understanding.
No,
All right. Anything else? No judgment. I like that. I'm not gonna go down further. We're just gonna go in and, is that judge with an E or not?
Oh, no.
Without. Oh, that one's without. Actually, they mean something different. I didn't know that. We learned it. No judgment. We'll put an exclamation point. So that, anybody else? We good? Yes. Okay. So what I heard that, yes.
What goes on?
That's good. We gonna say, I'm here, put Vegas. What goes on in here, stays in here. Vegas. That's it. Anybody else? All right, so what we're needing today is no crosstalk. Allow me to finish my statement. Assume the best intentions, be respectful even if you can't relate. Be empathetic and understanding, no judgment, and Vegas. What happens in here, what's said in here, stays in here. All right? All right, let's move to the next slide. All right, so we're gonna do a quick icebreaker before we get all deep. What scripture or mantra or affirmation helps you to stay positive during difficult times? Does anybody have something that they say to themselves, kind of to talk themselves down? I am. That's good.
Everything always works itself out.
Nice. Anybody else?
This too shall pass.
This too shall pass. Hers, Maria's, reminds me of the scripture, all things work together for my good. Yes, ma'am.
No weapon formed against us shall prosper.
One of my favorites. No weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Outside of that, there ain't nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, and well, you know what? It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Right? People think that that's a negative statement, but it really isn't. It's you having understanding that I have no control over the situation. It is what it is, right? So how I respond and react to what's going on is up to me. I realize I can't change it. Yes, ma'am.
I just learned a new term about 2 weeks ago, is be where your feet are. So for those of us that have difficulty with anxiety and thinking about the things that may happen that haven't even happened yet,
Yeah.
to learn to be where my feet are. So-
Yeah, being present is what that is, but I'm gonna instill that. Okay. I like that. Be where your feet are. But that's speaking of being present. Don't worry about what is or what may be or what happened. Be present in what is going on right now. You know, we miss a lot of moments because we're so concerned about what may happen or what has happened that we're missing what is happening. We're missing moments. All right, next slide. Oh, wait, anybody else? No. Y'all ain't got no affirmations that y'all say to yourself? Like, so much for. That is true. That's for somebody, anytime I get to a place where I'm thinking that my situation is bad, I realize that somebody has it worse. I always have something to be grateful for.
I always tell myself, somebody is praying for the position that you're in right now.
Oh,
That's good.
that's good. And I'm gonna just let that sit for a second. Yeah. Yeah, you don't like your house, but somebody wish they had it. You don't like your job, but somebody wish they had it.
So I always,
That's just,
this reminds me of being grateful for what I have, not for what I don't have.
I like that. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? All right, next slide. Introduction. Understanding triggers is essential part of managing emotional responses and mental health. A trigger is a stimulus that elicits an intense emotional reaction or causes an individual to relive a past trauma. Our reactions are based on our life's experiences and not on the circumstance at hand. You guys realize that? Like seriously. You're talking to Susan and Susan's getting it because somebody else has done something or a situation or an experience that you had with someone else at some other time. But because it reminds you of what someone else did, you get to sit on the business and she's like, whoa. What did I do? I'm big on respect. Not a whole lot of disrespect I can take, or I probably don't take any, but it's not a whole lot I'll take. In my younger self, anybody could get it, and that was my mindset. You should get it, type of attitude. That was from trauma from my past. Even something as simple as people thinking that I was vulnerable because I was short and small. And so I had to have this big man, you know, the little man syndrome. I had to have a big chest out all the time because people thought because I was little that, you know, they could get me. So I have to always prove, no, I could drop you to, you could get it because of stuff from the past. Now that I'm older, I still catch myself puffing my chest up when it's not necessary because people treated me like I was nothing because I was little. And it's not because they're making me feel that way. It's my experiences that causes me to be like, well, you can get it. Not because I'm gonna be able Why are you acting like that? It is not that serious. Have you ever had a moment where you're going off and you see yourself going off and you want to tell yourself to stop, but you can't stop? And then right after it's done, you regret 95% of the stuff that you said, but now it's too late. Especially with boyfriends and girlfriends, they say something and do something and you go off and then you realize, oh dog, that wasn't you. That was old boy from the last situation I was in. Or we don't trust somebody. Not because they've done something to cause me not to trust them, but because he cheated on me, I can't trust you. You move the suspect. What are they doing is moving? Past experiences causes us to react and respond. But the thing is, we have to be where our feet are at. In the situation that's happening right now. We're gonna talk about it. Okay, I would say next slide, but. Okay, so this is a little science for you. The
Neurological basis.
of emotional triggers is rooted, listen to this, is rooted in the brain's limbic system, which is responsible for processing emotions and memories. Okay? When a trigger is activated, that means something goes off. Something causes you to be like, wait a minute. When it is activated, it is as if the brain is sounding an alarm, signaling that something significant and potentially distressing is happening. That's what happens when he comes home late. He ain't called, but he was just at work. Phone died. And you going off. Why? Because old boy before him would be coming home late, phone be cut off on purpose, because he's sleeping with some sneaky link off to the side.
Did she say a sneaky link? Okay.
So now you going off on him because it feels familiar.
Mhm.
I've been through this before. Don't try to play me. Your phone didn't die. You turned your phone off. And then he shows you the phone and you said, oh, well, it may have died, but you wasn't at work. And he showed you, I wasn't at work. Well, you could have called from your work phone. You could have, why? Past experiences. Are you talking about me?
Yes.
No, I say reassurance goes a long way sometimes.
It does. However, nobody is required to tiptoe around your feelings because of what somebody else did. Now, I'm with you all the way. It takes very little assurance to keep me feeling like we okay.
Yeah.
But sometimes situations are out of our control, right? His phone died, he couldn't call you, but I'm on my way home. But I was texting you, my phone died.
Mhm.
Well, why don't you charge your phone at work? I mean, did you check the percentage? No, I was working. But we don't think about those things. All we know is this feels like some mess that I done missed before, and trust me, we're not doing that. You know, that's the attitude we have. I'm not going through this with you. Ain't got nothing to do with him. All right, next slide. So this is something that is scientifically happening inside of you. An alarm goes off, hold up, wait a minute. Been here before. The breakdown is, we're gonna move to the next slide. It's an introduction to the next slide. They vary from person to person, right? What triggers you, who triggers you. And so it includes things like certain dates, smells, sounds, or even words. Anybody in here ever had a sound that triggered something? Yeah. That's that system that you got going on that says, whoa, Lemon. Whoa. Been here. Y'all have those deja vu, like, wait a minute. Been here before, right? So this is something that is actually happening. It's not going crazy. It's something that's really happening, but now that we are aware that things, smells, people, and dates trigger us, why do we manage our response? Yeah.
Even something as simple as colors
Yeah.
can trigger a person.
For sure, next slide. So, common emotional triggers. Rejection. Feeling unwanted after a breakup or a job loss. Listen, when I've only lost one job, and the job wasn't even nothing. I think it was McDonald's. But I can't even express to you how I felt losing, like getting fired. I was just like, first it was like the gall. But then when I went home and I'm sitting in that moment like, no, I am paid, like dismissed from a job. And so that messes with your confidence when you're trying to go for the next job. Insecurity, doubt about self-worth or your abilities, feeling unwanted or smothered. Yes, they're opposite ends. And they have the same reaction. Being smothered by somebody and feeling unwanted has the same reaction. Being ignored or conversely feeling overwhelmed by attention. Unfair treatment. Experiencing injustice like an unreasonable boss. Loss of independence. What does that mean? Give me an example of loss of independence. Yes, ma'am.
I'm getting older and they can't do the things that they used to be able to do, and so they feel like their independence is being taken away, but somebody else has to come control finances.
Right.
Running errands, things like that.
Exactly. Another example. I mean, there's like a real obvious one. I'm waiting for somebody to say.
Being a child that can't make your own decisions,
That's a good one.
but I don't know if that's loss of independence. That's because I said so. That's not a,
Well, you ain't had independence. to lose.
right. So I'm not sure if that's, yeah.
But maybe you've been a teenager and you've gotten some independence, but you made some poor choices, so now your independence has been taken away because I can't trust you. But I was thinking more like
TV situations.
TV situations, Yeah. Being with somebody that's controlling, I said no, so no,
Mm-hmm.
but it's my mom, I said no. I was talking about going to jail,
It's all the same to me.
you know? Somebody controls when you eat, where you eat, when you go to bed, if you can go outside. Loss of total independence, right? And then loss of control, situations where you feel hopeless. Things like becoming homeless and things of that nature. All of these things, good example. So I was in a fire and I lost everything. And I get this insurance check because I'm smart enough to have insurance. And I was bananas, trying to just replace everything, not giving what I needed, but just replacing everything. Oh, I had a witch color, I needed it, whether I needed it or not, because I felt like my situation was out of control. And this was my way of taking control, not realizing that I was spiraling more out of control, trying to fix a situation I had no control of. Don't that sound crazy?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was doing. I mean, it sounds normal,
Yeah.
right? But is that a real, that was a reaction and not a response to my situation. Responding to my situation would have been being a good steward over the money that I got, getting the things that I needed, right? And then putting the rest off to the side. But no, I'm gonna spend it down to the penny because I'm supposed to replace everything I had. When half of, I'm not gonna lie to you, half the stuff I had, I didn't need it. I did not need it. I have this big old, I don't even know, fancy foodie cooking thing, it's expensive. I've had it for 2 years and never used it. I'm just replacing stuff. You know, I had this, I'm getting it bigger and better, and never used it. I'm just reacting to my situation, responding with it. You don't need it, put that money aside. All right, next slide. That's it. Oh, it's a listen, they look the same.
I'm triggered right now.
Holidays, anniversaries of trauma and loss.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big one. This is one of the main triggers, most common triggers, right? Anniversaries of your grandmother's passing, parents passing, losing a sibling, losing a mate. These are big. And even though what you're feeling is very real, how we respond to these things, maybe not so much, right? So let me give you an example. Your grandmother's anniversary is coming up, death anniversary is coming up. A response, no, let's do a reaction first. A reaction is we're getting depressed, we're getting moody because we're triggered by the day, right? That's a reaction. A response is, I'm gonna do something to honor my grandmother today. She used to make a bomb peach cobbler. I'm gonna get a recipe, even if I don't know how to cook, and I'm gonna try to make this peach cobbler just so I can have a moment of thinking about my grandmother and bringing up some good memories for me. That's a response. We gotta stop walking around here reacting. So I'm gonna share something. About 5 years ago, every year around my birthday, I got super depressed. I didn't know why. I mean, it's my birthday. I like to turn up for my birthday. I like to do things. People think that, you know, but I started noticing that I was getting sad and not wanting to do anything around my birthday. Then it began to be around the same time of the month, same time of the year. I would have to go to an institution, a mental institution around the same, not knowing what was going on. It wasn't until I needed my father's death certificate for something that I noticed the date of his death was right around the date of my birthday. So I talked to my mom about it, and she was like, you know, I never really thought about it. That time of year, every year, not realizing I'm being triggered, and it's causing me to be depressed, and it's causing me to be sad, and it's causing me to make some serious poor choices, like drinking way too much, right? Once I realized what I was reacting to, I was able to pull back, reassess, right, and choose to celebrate my father instead of being sad. So what I started doing was going to get a whole bunch of balloons of the same favorite color. I'd go somewhere by the water, because water was for me, it was coming for me. I went to the water, I released the balloons, and I just said, you know, whatever I needed to say, I miss you, I wish you were here, you're missing a lot. You didn't see your grandchildren, whatever it was that I needed to say in that moment. I started to respond to what I was feeling instead of reacting to what I was feeling. We don't realize that when we're triggered by stuff, there is often a emotional and mental reaction, and sometimes there's even a physical. We're gonna talk about it next time. Oh, we didn't decide, I'm sorry. Loud voices. I have a grandbaby that when they're yelling and arguing, they're triggered. Past experiences. You grew up in a house where your parents yell, fuss, and fought all the time, and you realize why you said, don't yell at me. You don't have to yell at me to talk to me. Why are you raising your voice? And sometimes people just talk like that because they're excited or even passionate about what they're saying. But we're triggered because that reminds me of my mom and my dad. All the yelling and fussing and fighting in the house. Ain't got nothing to do with them. My past experiences, right? Being alone, feeling abandoned. That's a big one. Some people just cannot be alone. That's a whole nother subject, but we gotta learn how to deal with being okay with being by yourself and being with you. Because until you get to a place where you're okay being alone, and everybody that leaves is not abandonment, sometimes it's just a season for them to go. Their time with you is up. Right, but we're so busy holding on to people that God is trying to say, let go of your love. They're no good for you, let go. So we gotta learn how to be okay by ourselves. Violence, this is a big one. I mean, and don't need to explain that, but have you ever watched the news? I stopped watching the news. I listen, me too. Have you ever watched the news and you were good and in good spirits and you turn the TV on and you're watching all the stuff that's going on in the world? All of a sudden you're heavy and sad. Responding to what? What are you responding to? What did you watch on the news that triggered something in you that you're reacting to? I didn't realize, oh, I don't like watching that type of stuff because stuff from my past. Now I can watch the news, you know, it's my person, it's great, but now I know, oh, okay, I get sad when I watch the news because it reminds me of stuff. Right? Breakups. We love those. We love them. Feeling unworthy and not good enough. This kind of goes with the one thing with being alone, right? When it's their season to go, it's their season to go. And it ain't got nothing to do with my work. I've learned to say it's their loss. Right? I know what I bring to the table for school. They just chose not to eat, that ain't got nothing to do with me, right? Sexual harassment, that's another big one. Especially when we're coming up as children, a lot of us been through a lot of sexual harassment, molestation, rape, all of that coming up and as adults, right? So when somebody comes over and say,
Don't touch me.
don't touch me, don't touch me, right? Because we've been violated in some way, and this person is just trying to say, hey, how you doing? But no, don't touch me, bro. Don't do that. Responding, reacting to what has happened before.
I said, what now? There'll probably be a moment for this, but some of these things I have to disagree with.
Okay.
Well, it's not anybody else's responsibility, about my triggers, but I think that we have a responsibility to each other as human beings to be cognizant of stuff like this.
Very true.
So, I mean,
yeah, I watched, you guys watch Karamo?
who?
Karamo, yeah, TV guy, talk show host. And ask for consent. Can I hug you? Right, because that's the culture that we live in, right now. But it wasn't always like that. We didn't always, listen, I wish sincere that everything that you guys are privy to now, I wish that it was in my generation, I wish they thought to ask for consent. What's that?
No. The example you're choosing to use, I just got into a situation where someone like that, because Rio didn't want to give my uncle a hug.
No. Listen. That's actually.
Something else. That's something else.
So that's a real deep subject because we feel like, not we, but people feel like they don't have the right to not want to hug you. They don't have the right to not want you kissing on them. They don't have the right to, not be, we can say, don't touch me. We can say, I'm not in the mood, I don't want to talk to you, but we force ourselves on children, like they don't have the right to have boundaries. She said that. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because we're teaching them as children not to have boundaries. We're teaching them as children not to have a voice. So when they grow up, right? And no boundaries being violated in every kind of way, it's because I taught you that when somebody wants to touch you, let them touch you.
What you doing?
I taught you that when somebody speaks to you, you speak back or you're being disrespectful. I taught you, right? So that's a whole nother something else. And as you guys are becoming more aware of mental health and things of that nature, we have to be careful what we're unconsciously teaching our kids. Uncle said, come here, sit on his lap, go sit on his lap, she don't want to, and you shouldn't want her to either, right? But that's what we were taught. When that creepy old uncle came over and hugged on you and did the stuff that he wasn't supposed to do, every time he came, my mom said, go give your uncle a hug. You see what I mean? So we have to be careful of what we're teaching yet.
And then Sister Allison has a comment here. What I was saying, when I said that's something different, change of the moment, just a second. Our children, these children in here have the purest spirit of discernment. And so if you see that, in the moment, just acknowledge that our kids have the most purest form of discernment. And so then, as I was thinking that, here's Sister Allison's comment. We are teaching them to doubt their discernment.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
That's the stuff. And we're gonna leave that there because that's all by itself.
Yes.
Next slide. How triggers show up. How do you know? Go back. I want to look at that.
Don't tell me what to do.
Okay. How do you know when you're triggered? Tell me what happens when you're triggered. Depressed. What about you, Joshua? Yes, sir. I don't know your name. Eric?
Yeah.
What about you, sir?
My skin gets hot.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
My mood changes and all of these memories start to play.
Indeed, yes.
I can't articulate my words properly.
Good. All right, next slide.
Can I say that I get angry? This is about triggers. Can I say it? Let me get it off. I get mad, I get angry, I get frustrated, I get all of these things. I get pissed off.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
Impulsive. Next slide.
Inside voice.
Our triggers show up. I told you mentally and emotionally, and they also show up physically, yeah?
Yep.
There's actually what happens, your heart starts beating fast, you're breathing heavy, heart is pounding, you're sweating. You don't realize that you're tense all up in your neck and in your shoulders. You might even feel dizzy and lightheaded. Have you ever been triggered and all of a sudden you got the runs? No issue. All of this from being triggered. That's crazy. The bubble nuts and triggered. Emotional They show up emotionally by, various emotional responses show up depending on how you feel with anxiety or fear. The most common are shutting down and being, like Karima said, very angry or sad. All of these are your body, your mind reacting to the situation. And it sounds funny, like you get bubble guts and things like that, but let's really think about it. Something that's happening to me emotionally has a physical reaction. That's crazy. You ever been, let's talk about anxiety. When you have anxiety attack, what happens? You have the lightheadedness, you can't breathe,
Sweating.
the sweating,
Lightheadedness.
lightheaded. And anxiety is really a reaction to what you're feeling emotionally and mentally. It's your body saying, hey, your alarm is going off like we read, right? All right, next slide.
Uh-huh.
All right, so let's talk about it. We're gonna take a few minutes we're not gonna take 10. We're gonna take a few minutes to use a personal reflection sheet, but it is on we can make this, you know, they try to fix it for
Yeah.
50 cents per sheet.
Well, it's not to pay $75 to make copies, so we're gonna. Y'all gonna write it on it. Y'all gonna list, I was like $75 for some copies, whoa. So what we're gonna do is get our notebook and our pen. It is important for you to follow me, as people say, trust the process. It's important for you to follow me on these next two sheets, so that on the third one, you should say, okay. So, write down two things of each situation that makes you feel each of the emotions listed below. Write down two things that make you furious, like, now y'all see the colors, right? Or build up. Two things that make you furious. Like if this situation happens or you're in this situation, there's no going back for you. You're at your top. Two things. See, Joshua is actually thinking, I like that.
Yeah,
Two things that make you furious. All right, we done with those? Oh, no, we are not. Okay.
What's your name? What's called that Woody baby? Hey, inside voice.
All right, you ready? All right, write down two things that make you angry. It makes you mad, but you ain't like at the highest sensitivity. You just mad. Two of them.
Oh, man, he crashed. He crashed.
Maria, we thinking?
Yeah.
One of the things we have to realize is like there's a level of things. Right? We always acting on furious when it really just a frustration, right? So we gotta learn to give the situation its due response.
I don't think I got that many left. I don't got that many savings.
You ain't got that many savings?
Yeah.
You like me, you got green ring?
No.
I might go some
Did you throw that?
yellow and red.
Oh, you ain't got no brick?
No, it's green, yellow, red.
Okay, got it.
I get over stuff real fast. I'm just
All right, frustrated, write down two things that makes you frustrated. And they can all be relative. They can all be, say, family. Like this makes me furious. This makes me angry. This makes me frustrated. But in this area, I'm cool. I'm good. I'm good with you. All right. We done?
What?
We got I know, right? So, like, so, see, man.
I was gonna ask my mom what makes her furious about. Yeah.
Do you really wanna? Look, not here. Not here. All right, we done, raise them again? Oh, okay.
Oh, they must be with Christian.
Yeah.
Okay, so
They
I'm
were
about to say,
right there.
oh, so I'm about to say, sweet Jesus.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all.
Oh, I thought they were about
I
to
had
say,
no
oh,
doubt that they was not out there with somebody.
Oh, no.
Jesus.
We ready? Huh.
Darren heard Jesus.
All right, next
I
slide.
heard Jesus.
Oh, wait a minute. I ain't ready yet.
There's supposed to be another thing.
You want another?
It's okay. No, it's fine.
I can.
No. Wait, what happened? You went back again. There we go. All right, we ready? Let's get into this. Specific people, places, and things can remind us of past, we're not gonna say drug use, we're gonna say past experiences. Avoiding these triggers can be effective way to reduce the likelihood of, we're not gonna say relapse, we're gonna say being re-triggered. List 5 people, places, or things that might make you more likely to be triggered. 5 people, places, or things. So mind you, we can talk about dates, like anniversaries. We can talk about a specific person. We can talk about that restaurant that you can't go to no more.
You said, you want like the trigger or?
Trigger, a trigger.
No.
For me, we talked about one, my dad's death date.
And I'm very.
It was super close to my birthday, so my birthday as well. People, well, you know, that creepy, places. Ooh, driving down Rainier by Rainier Park, Rainier Avenue. The funeral home across the street is where my father is funeral. And so I notice every time I drive down Rainier and I pay attention to them, and I'm sure. People, places, and things. And it doesn't have to be one of each. It can all be people, it can all be places, it can all be things.
Yeah.
Is that what is my dad? Mine? Oh, yeah.
Make sure you get it back. Keep them.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Be careful of the plug. Be careful of the things so you don't fall.
Watch out for the cord. Sit down, sit down.
All right, double down to the next one. Let's just stay here for a second. All right, is anybody able, yes,
I'm waiting.
is anyone able to share something that causes them to be triggered? Okay.
This is a person, my baby dad's mom.
Okay.
My baby dad was killed in 2020 in the Central District. And his mother, not. And I'm in another group and something that we worked on similar one time with people in places that push your clock. Which means like, for me, being around her brings out my anxiety. It makes me learn, I'm walking on eggshells, what I have to say, so she kind of pushes me in. So definitely something that triggers me.
All right, anybody else? Hold on just a second.
We can't hear.
Who can have a seat?
Sit down.
Sincere listen or get smacked down.
I'm triggered.
He is too.
All right. Karen said holidays. Explain.
So when holiday, my kids on arrive and everything, it's.
Another thing for holidays,
No, this has words in it.
another thing about holidays is, having lost someone. And the first holidays are always bad, but every holiday can be triggering, right? It's Valentine's Day and they're not here. It's Christmas and they're not here. It's Thanksgiving and they're not here. It's our anniversary and they're not here.
Mateo.
Those days also can be very triggering. Anybody else want to share? Yes, ma'am.
And when I lost my mom, and I guess it was like 3 years before I could deal with mother that stayed in the year. Until I thought about, I'm a mother, I can't, you know.
Yeah.
I've been, a vehicle or, you know, maybe be able to do that, and I can talk to them.
Did you guys hear that?
No, I work for.
She said for about 3 years after her mother passed, she had a hard time dealing with Mother's Day. And she said she had to realize that she was also depriving her children of celebrating her for Mother's Day because she didn't talk to nobody. She stayed in her bed, she got in her box and she stayed there, right? That's another thing we don't think about. When we're triggered, how are we affecting other people around us? We're gonna feed kids, so if the parents can get up for a couple minutes, Sincere, get in here. If the parents can get up and feed the babies real quick, so maybe we can bring their noise down just a little bit.
We're not done sharing, we're done sharing.
We're not gonna share it. Would you like to share?
I'll wait.
Oh, you're late. Anybody else want to share? Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, I forgot.
Okay, this has been hard for me for a long time because my family never dealt with murder. So January 23rd, the murder of my baby brother was like life changing for us. And so.
Hold on. This is really super vulnerable and I don't want you to be over. So give me just a minute.
Okay, I just wanna get up. What
Hold on
about
just a minute, sweetheart. I just don't want you to be here if the noise is up here.
What do you do with those children? Cause I feel like I just wanna go.
Somebody's running off. Whose child was it?
Christian got me.
No, somebody took off and so he had to go get it.
Come back here, come in here, come tell your mama you love her, something.
Sorry. Oh, Sincere.
Go quickly, ladies. Okay. Well, I mean, I understand, but somebody was sharing and I had to stop her, so I don't want her to have to be too long.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, we gotta wait.
I was just.
The baby, watch that baby.
On it. That's there.
One thing, she trying to play.
All right, love.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
And can we all please listen?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just sharing that, never dealing with murder before, you don't know the things that happen and trials and all the things that I was gonna say, being from South Central LA. There's so many people that are murdered, especially young Black men, and you never think that their cases would be solved. So in our situation, they actually did solve my brother's murder. There was a 16-year-old girl that was murdered with him and 2 other people that were shot. So it took about 7 years, like the sentencing just happened last year, and it was an emotional roller coaster for us. I'm flying down there all the time. My
Right.
mom, she can't do anything.
Yeah.
Her life has been changed forever.
Right.
And so that's a big trigger for us. And so like that day is just really heartbreaking. And I just have to be there for my mom the best that I can. But just like all the things that come with it, it's like always a punch in the face and a wound that is never healed, even though it happened in 2016 and 2024 and forever, we're still dealing with it. So,
Yes. Okay, so a couple of things. One, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing. You said that around that time, you're always trying to be there for your mom and support her. And so that's awesome. My question to you is, what are you doing to support you around that time in your trigger? So those of us that are nurturers, can somebody just love on her a little bit? Thank you. For those of us that are nurturers, we have a tendency to always take care, and take care when we are hurting ourselves. And so I posed the question to her because it is very important to be taking care of yourself, right? Because even though mom is triggered that time of year, so are you. And so the importance of taking care of you, people feel me first is selfish. No, I can't take care of you because I'm no good. And so I want to encourage you to find a way. So we're going to talk later about having a plan. So I want you to work on having a plan. So when that time of year comes up again, right, you can take care of you first. Because I've been planning for this time of year to come. I'm ready. I know how I feel around this time of year, so I'm being proactive, right? So that when you're loving on your mom, even though you're not good, you're good.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? All right.
She, I don't think she notices this, but every time around this year, I always hear from her more often and we end up spending more quality time together. We may not be talking about it, but I know based on her body language, her demeanor, and the time of year, what it is, and I'm just there.
So she's probably unconsciously already doing something for you, right? Because one of the things that we do for ourselves, a plan is having support, a support system, right? So maybe now talking to her and saying, hey, since you noticed this, right, around this time of year, I get a little more, I need more connection and I need to spend more time with you, just check on me. Make sure I'm okay. She seems like the type of person that would do that anyway, but you're doing this for you. You're saying, hey, I need to be checked on around this time of year, right? Because I'm so busy pouring out and making sure my mom is good and everybody else around me is good, right? We do so great at walking around. You guys saw that commercial, the depression commercial, when the face is down, but they got this man that's walking around and got the smile on it. We do that a lot. And we have to make sure that we talked about the small physical reactions, but there are big physical reactions. There's stroke, there's heart attack, right? Those things happen because of being anxious. It's not just because you eat too much salt or this, that, and the third, and it's stuff that they're not teaching you how mentally and emotionally, when we are under a lot, how that affects us physically. And so you gotta take care of you. So you and I are gonna talk about money. All right. Yes, sir.
So, since 2020, Thanksgiving was kind of rough. I lost a cousin of murdering from his own brother.
Okay.
It was an altercation with my cousin, the family guy, everybody loved him. He was trying to prevent the situation from happening, but, his brother was on drugs and cocaine. And his brother at the time was in there, so he was shot in the chest and happening and shot the dude in the head. But once he realized what he'd done, he tried to end it. And God, it's crazy, but from us in his room, the distance he did it was literally right there with the ice cream truck.
Oh, wow.
So when he realized what he did, he went back up there to the guy that he shot and shot him in the head like 16 more times. My cousin tried to, go to the street, but I thought it was. So, that's kind of been a hard situation, but when he's sitting, since last year, when he just sitting there thinking about it, I always thought like, you would say, hey, cause don't try me, I'm sure you're in a better place, So I mean, that was my best overcome to think, to get over it.
Yeah,
Every Thanksgiving to do up at it.
so how are things looking now?
I mean, it's better now because, the only thing you can think of is like, you can just see a smile.
Yeah.
Just hear his voice saying, hey, man, don't put your face on that pretty still design, look good,
Yeah.
Good. So, yeah, that was the best thing for me to do.
I love the way you found a positive way to put a spin, right? Remembering how he would want you to be, like, don't put your head down, put your head up. I love that. But I still wanna consider and suggest that you have a plan. Because sometimes it may not be that easy to just say, I know he wouldn't want me to look like, feel like this and act like this and be like this. Having a plan in place, and a plan can be something simple. For me, a plan would be finding a way to honor your cousin during that time. I'm thinking about you, missing you, right? And doing something that that either he would like or something that he would love and respect. So there's a person that I know, I won't say any names. She lost her cousin. And her cousin was big on community service. And so the story of their dad, she finds a way to get back to the community. Why? Because she's doing that in honor of her cousin. So that's what I mean by having a plan. It's something that honors him.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. We actually do that.
Oh, that's.
I don't know if anybody's familiar with TikTok, but there's a cousin named Leon. She does the actual thing for him, and that's what brings all of us together. That's from Alabama, so I'm here now.
Yeah.
That's gonna be kind of different, but long as I can place time in,
For sure.
talk.
Yeah. Anybody else wanna share?
Triggers?
I don't know why, the way she said it is triggering me. Go ahead.
Is that where we're at?
Yes, we're talking about triggers.
I've said emotionally unavailable men.
Mm.
And it's just because I've just been surrounded by so many families that just weren't available. Husband wasn't available, brother wasn't available, and so when father and uncle. So
Yeah.
it's like when I'm around men that just don't have that, it's kind of disgusting. You don't have anything to offer me, nothing that you have for me, and it's just irritating to just see around.
Working that one.
I can't because I'm triggered. Right? The same people that she had to deal with, I had to deal with. And the best thing that the best that I could do for me is to understand that I have to respect the place that people are at. It's hard, right, when you're a child and you're needing from your father, right? You're a wife and you're needing from your husband and they're not available. Where the husband is concerned.
Get a new.
So they get a new one.
That's terrible. Our men are not given the opportunity to deal with it. But that's a start. However, we as women, we don't get to know somebody before we done moved in, before we done met our husbands, before we done had children. with them.
Or we don't even know ourselves.
That too. But we talking about the men right now for a second, just for a second, because that's our trigger. When we get to know somebody, right, and we're really paying attention, like when we come out of the fog, oh, I'm so in love. We start to see, and this is for women too, we start to see who they really are, right? And so we gotta start taking our time with getting to know, like, if they constantly show that they don't really show up for you, that's who they are. So when you have kids, that's who they are. It doesn't change, not as a father, not as a husband, not as a brothers, that's who they are. Men and women. So one, we have to be more alert and paying attention, right, to the signs, stop ignoring them signs. So, I mean, you can be forgiving, but write it down in your journal.
I got one more.
All right.
Okay, October 22nd is a very tragic moment for me. And it's kind of upset, but I feel like I need to talk about this.
Okay.
You know, 12 o'clock midnight, someone just told me to go to my mama. So I called, she answered. I was like, hey, Mom, can I come to the library? Like, yeah, come on, you gotta keep it out.
Yeah.
So I left my house and I went there. When I got there, I seen her taking pictures out, looking at pictures, and I was like, what's wrong? She's like, I'm all right. Are you sure? Yeah. So I went to the bathroom, got myself situated, and I was getting ready to go to bed. She was like, I'm outside to drink a beer and smoke a cigarette. I'm like, hold up, you know, I'm smoking cigarettes. So, she feel like, just come outside and smoke a damn cigarette and drink this beer. I'm like, all right. So I go out there, and she's like, hey, that's in Florida, because I'm originating from Florida.
Okay.
So she's like, I want you to go back to Alabama and try to make things work with your family. And if it don't work, just go on your way. So, we had a little conversation and whatnot, and just she was, before I went to bed, she was like, I might not see you tomorrow, but I love you. I'm like, sure you are? She's like, yeah. So I woke up the next morning and waited for my mom, she was law enforcement. So I woke up the next morning and I see my stepdad, like, what you ain't gonna work? Like, the mom left me quiet and took me in at the phone. That's weird. So I'm calling, texting, and over place. So by that time, we called some kind of sheriff department, which, that sheriff, he knew my mama very well. So they put the cops in there, they put the police all over the place. We found him, and shot us up in the head. And, yeah, I'm still just saying, I'm safe there.
Yeah.
But in a way, I feel like I'm more comfortable when I'm around somebody that loves me. I even got family that gets on leadership. So I had to just come in, just leave them behind. And just come here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I go into a very devastating month.
Yeah. So first, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for your loss. It seems you coming here was so here, right? Getting to a place where you could get away from the negative, family that don't care and all that, and surrounding yourself with someone that is going to support you, going to love on you, right? Loss is huge. Like even our responses, which is the positive side of it, our responses to loss is rough. And a parent of all, right, is major.
Maybe one day.
See, it's easy to say anything to you, but I don't want to say anything to you. I want to say things that are given to you. Just give me a second. Okay, pass it. Come here. Come here, Joshua. How many in here believe in God? In the hands of two records, I want you to send it this way. All right. Father God, we come to you right now in the name of Jesus. God, I'm asking, Father, that you can send the comforter that you promised, Lord. Lord, I pray to sit with Jonathan and rock you in your arms, oh God. Lord, I pray that he begin to have peace. God, the peace that you said that will pass all understanding. Lord, I'm asking, oh God, that you will stand with him, oh God. God, catch every tear that falls, oh God. Hold him, oh God, when he has moments of not understanding, Father God, and his heart is broken. I pray that you will be a heart mender and lift his head, oh God. God, I'm praying right now that every attack towards this young man, against this young man, be canceled right now in the name of Jesus. I pray that you use every heartbreak, every hard time, oh God, and use it for his good, oh God, to cause him to stand and walk, oh God, in the path that you have for him. God, he belongs to you and we give him back right now in Jesus' name. He is covered in the mighty name of Jesus. God, and we thank you. Right, that's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Loss is hard. It is hard. I believe it was the young lady that said when she lost her son, her life was forever changed. It does something to us. Loss of a child, loss of a brother, loss of a parent, loss of a spouse, that's stuff we can't just shake off. Because everything that reminds us of them is triggering. You go to the restaurant that y'all used to go to, you're triggered. You smell his cologne, somebody walks past and you smell their cologne, it's triggering. Pastor said even colors. Triggering, right? And so responding to stuff in life is just necessary. Even when we're broken, it is not okay for us to walk around triggered by everything, lashing out on any and everybody because we're triggered. We have to learn how to hone in, okay, I'm feeling some kind of way, right? Let me take 5, or some people say, let me take a beat. Let me figure out what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. And then respond. Sometimes it might not, look, take a beat might be a couple of days. I'm gonna need to hold off on this, right? I can't deal with you for a couple of days. I can't see you, talk to you for a couple of days. Whatever time and space you need, it is your right to take it. It is your right to take it. That's it, nothing else. It's your right to take the space and the time that you need. Shake that thing up, slam it down on the table. I need a minute. All right, let's have lunch. And it's 4:00.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Right.
All right, y'all, we're gonna take a few minutes worth of a break. If you can hear me, put it on mute. We're still here, but we're just gonna take a break.
All right, so let's start talking. I just need two people that are willing to share their list. Okay, so we got these two over here. Because we're short on time. Okay, Karima, go ahead and share yours.
Because I have one trigger that covers a spectrum of subject matters. If I say no and I can't get you to accept my no, I go through all of those. My no is 1 and 2 for all of those things.
Yeah.
And it's
So let's talk about why though, right? So the reason why you start off with the no is because you are setting your boundary, right? And you're comfortable with setting your boundary and saying no. It's the pushing and edging and you begin to be frustrated because I said no, right? And then they keep pushing and egging, and so now you're angry because I done said no. And then we get furious, which I call high intensity. Because now I feel like what I'm saying to you, you're not taking, you're not respecting the fact that I said no, regardless of what my reason is. Regardless of what my reason is, right? Because they may not, one, understand your reason, they might not even know, excuse me, your reason. And to be honest with you, you don't have to explain why your no is no. It's the disregard of your feelings, it's the disregard of your stance, and it's the disregard of your boundaries, right? People get angry. And Kareem was actually right. We really do go from like calm, even though you might skip one, but you still go through the motions of, all right, okay, now I done said to going on, right? And what needs to happen before getting to when you're frustrated? Karina?
I don't care.
No, listen. When you're frustrated, before you even allow yourself, because that's what's happening, is you are allowing yourself to get angry and furious. What you need to do at frustrated is, one, take a stance. And when that stance has been taken, that either means you walking away, cutting the situation off, the party is over, everybody get out, you know what I mean, type of, it's stopping it right there. You don't have to allow someone to continue to egg you. Now listen, it's difficult when it's parents.
Oh.
It's different when it's parents because there's a respect factor that we're trying to honor, right? But on the opposite end of that, there's a respect factor that needs to be honored. As I am respecting my mom, as my mother, I need her to respect the stance that I'm taking for whatever reason that is. To get to angry and furious is on you. You shut it down here. Come here, Cynthia.
Now.
Actually, have her to sit next to you.
Right.
Sit right there. Or, okay.
You got them together.
Yeah. Getting angry and furious is on you. You have allowed yourself to get angry. You have allowed yourself to get furious.
I don't care what you say.
Well, because it's on us. People can only affect us in the way that we allow them to affect us. No one has charge over your emotions and your feelings but you. If you're angry, it's because you allowed yourself to get angry. If you're frustrated, you allowed yourself to get frustrated. Now, let's just take the mom situation, because I got a real, hey, she on? Okay. I have a very strong mother, right, from the side, mom. And every time I got around her, I turned into like a 7-year-old little girl. Even when she came into my house, she came in and she ran things. I don't care what your mama said, I said no. In my house. And I let it go. Right? respect. I called myself respecting her, but guess what I was doing? I was disrespecting me, disrespecting my needs, disrespecting my values and my morals from my home, disrespecting the stance that I needed to take for me. People always say, well, you disrespected me. No, I let you disrespect me. So, let's take my situation. What could I have done to allow myself to not get furious or angry? Pretty much need you to answer.
Huh?
Answer.
I mean, the politically correct answer is to walk away.
I mean, like real talk. What could I have done in that situation?
Walk away,
Yeah.
you know, that's the politically correct response.
Okay. Anybody else got a
Okay,
suggestion?
actually,
Yes.
I would say you could set boundaries.
Yeah.
Now that you're an adult, but I don't know how your mom is, I don't know how.
Listen.
You can attempt to set boundaries.
Well, I mean, right? I mean, because if nothing else, I took a stance. I could have said something like,
And still be
Mom,
respectful.
please don't do that, right? If I tell the kids that they can't do it, you know, let my no be no. You know, you wouldn't want somebody to tell me I could do something that you said no to, right? Setting a boundary, and then say she disrespects that boundary, then what?
I have that issue with my own mom, so.
So you ain't got no answer.
Yeah, I got no answer.
Ain't nobody got no answer. Yeah.
So when that happens to me, I do the mom on my mom and tell her like, this is my house and she don't pay bills and she's welcome to go home.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh, that's scary.
but I mean, there's been a lot of like work and not so much work and things between me and my parents. So sometimes I have to be that way with
Yeah.
them because there is no respect.
Right.
Or, oh, I'm right, I'm your parents, but also I'm going as hell.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so, your plan would not work with my mom.
Yeah, would it work with mine?
Yeah. No tea. Yes,
Oh, I realized I was supposed to be giving advice to what you should do, but on both ends, I've tried both of those mine and it don't work.
Didn't work.
It doesn't work.
okay, so it's your house? And you asking your parent to, and it didn't work, but they still there? That's a problem. That's a problem. So. Is it like y'all house or is it your house?
it's supposed to be your house.
It's supposed to be, so it sounds like a whole lot of boundaries that have been set. And so the tough thing about trying to set boundaries after you've allowed for boundaries to be crossed over and over is it's difficult. And the key to that is consistency. If you can't, then you're gonna have to.
Okay.
If you don't,
Hey, pardon me, Miss.
Honey.
What's your name in? Come on. Hey, you don't even sit there. I don't care, we finna learn this right now. Get over there, sit down. Sit,
First and last.
don't get up.
consistency is what it's gonna take. Especially when it comes to parents, because, you know, they have that mentality that I'm your mom, and when I say go, even like, listen, my kids have, in my eyes, right, been super disrespectful. But not really. But not really, right? Because when you remove the fact that that's their child. And I don't have the right to tell them how and, you know, when to do with their child. So I have to step out of that situation after they get disrespected me. I have to sit back and look at the situation like she was right. You don't get to come in and disrupt their household. Or consistency. If you can't, then you don't have to. Yeah, you're on it's right, honey. It's right.
Yeah.
Standing on those boundaries.
You definitely have to stand on the boundaries. And it's hard because it's been a lot of process. All right. Share yours. You're gonna share yours?
Just one.
Yeah.
What section?
Something that makes, what section are we in?
Oh, no, but I'm saying, what are you?
Oh, you angry. Okay. The tone that people choose to use with me, especially if I feel like I'm being respectful. Like people I get, they might be going through. Okay, let's take my baby dad's mom, for example. Like I said, he got killed. Her and I do not get along. Certain tones that she uses with me. I feel like she knows triggers me, so she purposely will talk to me in that specific tone, especially when I'm respectful.
Yeah.
So it's just like tones can trigger me and take me to a place of like, what do you wanna do?
Yeah.
Like, and I don't like being like that at all. I don't like being like that at all, though.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah,
Because you allow,
Mm.
you give her way too much power,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. And so when it comes to situations like that, is it possible for you to hear what's being said without hearing the tone in which it's being said?
Sometimes.
Because if you could, it will remove you to disregard the tone and just hear.
Yeah,
Because sometimes I can be super loud and even aggressive, but it's not aggressive. I'm just super passionate about what I'm saying, or maybe it's concern and it's coming across aggressive.
Oh, just a question.
Aggressive.
that could be,
And I'm not saying that that's her case.
yeah,
I'm saying that sometimes we just have to hear what's being said and not listen to the volume or the tone.
yeah,
Because if I allow you to come in and say something, it disrupts my whole day, right? I was cool until you came in here.
Right.
And now you got me all messed up. I've literally given this person the power to come in and shift my entire mood, shift my entire mind state,
yeah.
right? Because of either their tone, their volume, or sometimes what they say.
Yeah, and her whole mannerisms and everything, it's just the whole body language.
But can you just disregard it, just be like, girl, bye, in your head, okay?
Yeah.
In your head, girl,
Okay,
bye.
on top of that, we just took a 10-month break. I didn't speak to her. She didn't see my son for 10 months.
Okay,
Yesterday was the first day she saw him in 10 months. And I said, okay, we're gonna try this again. The way you speak to me, you need to speak to me with respect. You don't have to like me, but
be respectful.
yeah, so we're working on it. And I probably need to practice that to look like, okay, even when she has a phone, just pay attention to what she's saying.
But if what she's saying and the tone that she is using match,
Yeah, that's the problem.
then that's a problem,
Uh-huh.
okay? And so in that case, you have to be consistent.
Yeah.
I have had to learn to disregard tones. And just try to hear what people are saying, because oftentimes maybe what they're talking about is triggering for them. And so they're really reacting and not really, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
really paying attention to how they're speaking and what they're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying disregard. I'm just saying be a little more open to, okay, what she's saying is cool, but like the way she's coming at me,
Yeah.
disregard the tone. And just receive what's being said to the best of your ability.
I
But when they match,
Yeah.
set boundaries.
That's another thing that's been hard, sorry, that's another thing that's been hard is I don't know how to navigate boundaries with her because like we were talking about earlier, her and my mom, they both break boundaries constantly. If I say, for example, I would come in bed by 8 o'clock, still let me go to bed at 10, and I'll be like, that's a boundary that you're breaking. And she feels like, she just feels like she can parent my son.
Okay.
She feels like she can parent my son, how she parented her son. Our parenting styles were obviously different.
Mhm.
She was raised down south, I was raised up here, I'm a lot younger than her,
Yeah.
so we have different experiences to that led us to parent the way that we did. And so when I say, hey, I want him in bed at 9, toddler, she might say, well, I don't agree with that, yada, yada, yada. And so we have a lot of conflict when it comes to boundaries, so what would you say to that to help me navigate that?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you're gonna like my answer.
And
So if you can't respect the boundaries that are set, then they can't be here. They can't come over. I have them on, or him on a schedule, right? And I need that schedule to be kept. And if you can't respect that, I get it,
yeah,
but he can't come over.
yeah.
And it's hard to be like that with your parents.
It is, but that was her only child, and this is her only grandson.
I get it, but I get it. But you know what? The truth of the matter is, if you set boundaries and you're consistent, because it is her only grandson, she gonna get it together so she can get back into seeing her grandson. But they expect us, because they're parents, they expect us to drop our boundaries and to let them do whatever and get over however.
I know we're trying to get to the solution of all of this, but I was listening for that. But that matters. And this is why I said we have to be cognizant of stuff, because it may not even necessarily be what you're thinking. She has to experience her son vicariously through your son. And so it may not even be what you're thinking.
Yeah.
It's just, that's all she got left of her own. And
That's all well and good, it is. But when we're talking about mental health and we're talking about her, there's a boundary that should not be crossed.
And so then that's the part where we're cognizant of that. So then the question is not necessarily what boundary do I need to set with her? Because you're not gonna get one, because she is experiencing her only son through yours. And so this is where I come in with a disagreement with that. There's another, I don't know that that's a boundary. That's something else that has to be done, but a boundary to her is cutting off from my son. And then that creates a whole nother problem between y'all. So my question then is, what else is there? Because it's case by case.
It's case by case, but if it's a total disrespect of this is what I want and they're doing the opposite, there are no other options.
But is that it? But is she trying to be disrespectful, or is she experiencing her son through her grandson?
Grandson from 12 to 8 because I wanted him in.
The same reason why I don't experience or did not experience my father through my grandfather. It's two different people. It's two different situations. I can't experience.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm speaking to.
Okay.
What I'm speaking to is, I understand that the time that she has with the grandbaby is all that she has left of her son. Right, so in valuing the time that I have with him, right, I need to respect the mother of my grandson. And if she says that she wants him in bed by 8 o'clock, because when he's up after 8, he acts a certain way, or in the morning, he's dragging his feet and don't want to get up for school. She has to respect that that's the boundary that's set. So what do? Instead of coming to get him at 12, I'm gonna come and get him at 10 o'clock in the morning so I can have more time with him. But the boundary of him going to bed, I understand that she has a loss, but that does not give her the right. See, this is where people have issues. Because of what I'm going through, I have the right to disrespect what you're doing. Absolutely not.
That's where we lumped it.
And I'm not saying that gives freedom. I'm just saying that there could be something else going on. And so now when we get ready to set the boundaries and do all those things, are you considering that part?
For sure.
That's what I'm saying.
So which I'm assuming probably has already happened. There needs to be conversations that happen before, so you need to start there.
We need a mediator, because mediators are like this when I try to have conversations like this, like we are right now. All we turn to a screaming match, always, every time.
I would definitely not cut her off without having sat down more than once, at least twice, to say, first time is da 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 da. The second time needs to be, listen, I really need you to da 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 da. And if it's still disrespected, listen. But So, you can't set boundaries without consequences. Right? It's you do this or. And when you say you do this or I need this or else, if you fall through on the or else, you haven't set a boundary. So it needs to be this or else, right? And then you have to stick to that, but have a couple of conversations and not just say what you're wanting, but say what you're needing and why you're wanting, right? So she has a opportunity to understand where you're coming from and why this is important to you.
Yeah.
But as much as sad as it is, what I'm going through doesn't give me the right to cross your boundary. Okay,
All right.
okay, I'm losing everybody. So,
Because we went an hour over.
well, there was a lot of people that did a lot of sharing.
Yeah, no,
Couldn't
I
rush
understand.
that. Okay. And we're not an hour over. It was not, I was supposed to say,
Some people were late.
and the people were late. Let's go. Pastor Eda. Okay.
She said, we done.
No, right. Fight.
All right.
Lifestyle.
So our response is to being triggered. It's either we fight, so that's, fussing and yelling and even fighting, physical fighting. We freeze. You ever have that moment where you just shut down? Like, you ain't got nothing. You just say you don't hear nothing else, you just shut down. You flight, that means you take off. Literally flight. Or fall. Do you guys know what it means to bond?
No.
That means you go out of your way to please the person that is causing your triggering and the trauma. Whatever I can do to calm you down, whatever I can do to make you happy, I'm gonna do that because I don't want you to be mad and I don't. That's what funny is, right? So by show of hands, and we only got a couple. And our response is fight. Yes, I know it depends, but I'm talking about your go-to reaction. What about flight? Yeah.
Depends on who it is and what it is.
Well, my mama, that ain't true. I gotta raise my hand.
Okay.
What's your name? Come on, hey, Spider-Man, come here, Spider-Man.
You are mine now.
So, guys, this response is activated when you decide to confront
You
the
gotta stop
threat
running
head
now.
on, right?
You gotta
It's the
stop.
body's way of preparing to
Never mind.
defend
Okay,
itself.
thank you, sir.
Flight. This response occurs when you decide that the best way to deal with the threat is to run away. It's about survival for you, right? And getting to safety as quickly as possible. Freeze sometimes means a fighting or fleeing is an option. I don't know if anybody's ever been so scared that you just.
Come on.
In such cases, you might find yourself freezing, unable to move or act against the threat. Fine. This response is used after an unsuccessful attempt of the other F's. Which often occurs in people who grew up in abusive environments where they have to abuse others. I just want you to be happy. I just have to calm down. What can I do? Right? All right. Understanding and coping. It is important to develop strategies to cope with triggers. Does anybody in here have a coping mechanism? A healthy one. Wait. A healthy one. Yes. Yes. Listen to music. That is one of my favorites. This includes recognizing the sign of these triggers. So before you get to anger and period, before you find a way to distract yourself.
Yes.
Taking it, going for a walk. I know some people like to do stretching back. Some people like to listen to music. Some people like to meditate. A lot of us like to pray. Right? De-stress yourself. You feel yourself triggered? Take a minute. Bring it down a notch. This includes recognizing signs being triggered, employing relaxation techniques, and seeking support from, forgive me, friends, family, and professionals. Understanding your own triggers can help you anticipate and manage your reaction, leading to better emotional control and mental health. Can you think of a time where you were triggered and before you reacted, you stopped
Mhm.
and you thought about what you were gonna say or how you were going to react? Did that turn out better? It didn't turn out better. Well, majority of the time, it ends up being better than being impulsive. Thank you. With your reaction, right? It isn't the world's obligation to tiptoe around you. Listen to this. Your triggers are your responsibility. Ain't that crazy? Like, because I got triggers from trauma, but now my triggers are my responsibility. Yes, if you allow yourself to get from calm to furious, in here somewhere, the angry and the frustrated, I didn't do any work. I didn't pray.
I did pray for you to get out of my face and listen to the fact that I just said no. Help him hear me say no, Jesus.
You didn't walk away.
Well, you know, I'm gonna have to pray about this because no, it's nobody's responsibility to tiptoe around me.
Right.
But my no is my boundary.
I'm
And you,
saying that anybody has the right to cross your boundary. I'm saying how you choose to react.
if you heard me say no and you keep on pushing and pushing and pushing, and you see this face that's telling you, okay, I done had enough. That means that you need to stop.
It does. It absolutely does. But when they don't, what do you do?
I leave, or it depends on how far they push me, and then they're gonna hear how far they pushed me.
See,
It,
we're trying to keep you from there.
I feel like it's all of our responsibility, as if that person has no responsibility in the moment.
I'm not saying that the other person does not have responsibility. I'm saying that you are responsible for your reactions to what they are doing and what.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I hear you.
So
I get
that's
you.
what we can control. All right, next. Listen, I'm frustrated.
You triggered?
Triggered, no. Coping with your triggers. This involves a combination of awareness. I gotta know what triggers me, and I need to know why it triggers me, right? Self-care. What do I need to do to get myself to a place of peace?
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Self-care. So self-care, I learned in my other group that, our body obviously holds a lot of trauma and stress, so we like to do once a month massages to
Oh, nice.
move that around and
Yeah.
get that out. And, also being active, whether you walk or go to the gym, something like that. So,
Yeah, I love those suggestions. Those are excellent. A lot of people want to do the meditation and all for it because I do it too.
Yep,
But I love the fact that you need to get active to release it,
yep.
right? And practice strategies to manage the intense emotions they can provoke. Here are some effective coping strategies for dealing with emotional triggers. First things first, we already talked about it. You need to be aware and accept the fact that you are triggered. Recognize that emotional triggers are normal part of the human experience. It's normal. It's normal, right? To be triggered. That's normal. Your reaction a lot of the time is not. Accepting your feelings without judgment is the first step in managing them. Like you, they say no, you get mad. Accepting the fact that you're pissed off. That's okay. I know, right? Accepting that, that's okay. That's the first step in really acknowledging the fact that I'm feeling some kind of way, something that I need to do to fix that I'm feeling this way. Self-reflection and awareness, reflect on past experiences, what has got you messed up? We always tell folks, you got me effed up. No, the situation and you being triggered got you effed up. That person only has the power that you allow them to have. So what is bothering you?
The fact that I said no when you ain't listening.
Yeah, damn here, I said it 52 times. Keep on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Come on.
your response to that
Come on.
is still your responsibility. And even so,
Take that.
that, your responsibility. Reflect on the past experiences that may have contributed to the development of the specific triggers. Understanding the root cause can help in addressing the emotional response.
I know the root
Next slide.
cause. I know the root cause.
I said understanding it, so now that you understand it, how you move and respond to it, that is on you.
I receive it.
Your past experiences, we can't change that. The stuff that happened to us, we can't change that. But how we are functioning in that moment, that is on us.
Okay.
One more.
Y'all, we are on Zoom, so they're seeing. Hi.
And you too.
Yeah. Okay, so some of this stuff we already talked about, so coping mechanisms. She talked about walking, she talked about massages, getting active. This one said meditation, exercise, enjoying a hobby. Doing something that is just fun. It's not for nobody else, it's just for you, right? And then we already talked about setting the boundaries. And try to, help prevent situations that might trigger an intense response from you. What does that mean? If I'm going to my grandmother's house and I know the uncle is going to be there, and I know he don't get along with auntie so-and-so, that's what I'm gonna do.
I ain't going.
Yeah, well, you could opt to not go. That's the first one. But if I feel compelled to go or I feel pressured to go, I'm just gonna hang out with auntie so-and-so because those two don't get along and they avoid one another. So I'm gonna just sit here and chill. For me, I feel like anything that you choose to avoid or to deal should be a healthy option. Right? So if you choose not to go because you just can't, that's a healthy option. If you go and you just let whatever happen and you end up being triggered and you're exposed to everything, not a healthy option, and it's high risk for you to be triggered. So what you do with situations, this is why it's good to have a plan. So, Karina.
No.
Oh, no, we're not doing this. So, Karina, somebody actually something you say no. And they're trying to compel you, but da 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 da, and I could really use the help, da 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 da, and you say no. What could be an action plan for when your no is not being accepted? Don't talk about punching somebody in the throat. Let's say this is a situation where you can't walk away per se. What can you do in that situation to maintain your peace?
That's a very difficult question for me to answer, especially that one, because I don't typically say no, that I can't help you. It is something that is definitely only deals with me.
Right.
That affects me. That's it. And so in this moment, I'm going to need Jesus to come sit right next to me and tell me that I've got to do something other than say no and mean it. I don't need you to care. I don't want to have to explain to you why I said no. I said no. There's no more discussion. And so now that you have now been forceful and demanding and called me all kind of other stuff because I simply said no, you get what you deserve. And that's usually the result of my frustration. You stand there long enough, you're gonna feel it. Either that or receive my no. And so in order for me to change that, I need Jesus to come on and help me because I said no and I meant it.
So there's no other result. It's either they accept your no or they gonna feel, they'll know.
If you accept my no when I give it, there's nothing else. I'm still
Well, I
calm.
mean, some people don't know how to respect boundaries.
Exactly. And so I have said no, and then I'll go to no, thank you, and then no, I'm good, and then you're gonna keep going. No, I said no.
Yeah.
And if now that I have shifted and my tone and my body language is letting you know that I was calm when I said no, you are the one that's escalating my no.
So they are escalating.
They are escalating my no because now you're standing in my space, you're standing in my peace, and you're giving me your forcefulness, your whatever it is that thinks you can stand in front of people and be forceful and demanding and not respect boundaries. Whatever it is about yourself that you think you can stand in my space and demand of me, that doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work. Not when you're going to demand that I respect your
It's
boundaries.
not demanding if they're asking.
And I have said no. And now if you go beyond that, come on, do it. Come on, just do. You are demanding. It doesn't work for me.
So you don't feel like there's no way safely. Make their name.
There's always, walk away, go do something else, but it's never the end of it.
So you're telling me that, so, because I have a solution in my head, and so I was waiting for you to come to it, and you didn't come to it.
Because it depends on the situation.
Right.
If you accept my no, then it doesn't go anywhere else.
It's simply ignored you.
I'm 40-something years old. I'm 40-something years old. I shouldn't have to go around ignoring. I shouldn't have to tiptoe around you.
I'm talking about where you are allowing someone to frustrate, irritate, anger, and get you furious. You could choose to ignore. I said no 3 times. Now I'm done talking.
Yeah. I'm 48 years old. I shouldn't have to sit here.
7 to 4.
I'm there. And I shouldn't have to be sitting here and act like a 2-year-old and then pretend like I don't hear you. I shouldn't have to play the ignore game. I said no. Receive that.
What did you call it again?
Calm down, Bob. I have one.
All right. Other coping mechanisms, because at the end of the day, how people affect you that's on you. They can only make you angry if you allow them to. They can only make you furious if you allow them to. I got a cold ignore button. Like I can act like you are not there. And I keeps my peace because you can run on and talk on. And in my head, I'm singing something. Or talking to myself like it's school.
Takes up my time. I got other things to do besides that. Whoa! Who did it?
All right.
That means it's time to stop.
At the end of the day, you can choose peace or you cannot. You can choose calm or you cannot. It really is really good job. Yeah. It really is your choice. Your triggers and emotional reactions are what? They are a reminder of what still needs to be healed. If you still sore about it, something still really wrong way, I know what your problem is. Then that means that's an area that still needs to be healed.
Why isn't it the fact that you keep reminding me of this? I'm saying no, so stop reminding me. I don't think about this until you push.
I get it, and you're absolutely right.
Okay.
But your light switch flips because you let it flip.
Okay.
I understand that they remind you, but I'm saying your mind.
Should be nothing.
I said that now all day today. I ain't said that. Now one time did I say that?
My response should be Musa.
Your response should be I choose peace.
Musa.
What? Oh, my question.
Sister Allison says, but your trigger may actually be feeling unheard in certain instances where you were violated.
For sure.
And then she said, when was the first time someone didn't respect your no?
Right.
Unfortunately, it's been 40+ years and I do remember that.
Yeah.
And so I'm this age and I want my no to be respected.
And that's.
You can see this from Jesus's perspective in relation to forgiveness. You are choosing to form, keep, and plant stones in your heart. Mhm. Even Jesus said no and he was respected.
Well, someone. But, and
I am made in his image.
I'm done talking to you. Next slide.
We are done.
And giving me your time.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. You are welcome.
All right, Sister Allison, we about to sign off here. Yeah, she's on the one. The watcher is not here. All right, thank you. This is our first time doing it this way, YouTube, and so we will cut and edit however we can. If not, God bless you for being here. We'll see you next time.